Hi everybody, it's me, Teresa Perrin, and I want to discuss BBIG with you, and there's a few things that I want you to know about that are imminent. One as early as tonight regarding a shareholders meeting on Twitter that I want to bring to your attention in case you're unaware of it, and the other regarding a new website for BBIG investors. Guys, you may have noticed, I'm sure that anybody watching this has, that BBIG suddenly out of nowhere on Friday afternoon had a massive breakout to the upside, followed by a pullback. Again, pullbacks are normal and you want this to happen. Does this mean that BBIG is a buy right now? Guys, I have to be honest. I am not saying that it can't run, but I would be very hesitant for reasons that we're going to discuss in this video, because it seems like when we see this type of movement, it all has to do with options and liquidity. So my guess is, without knowing exactly, that there were probably a lot of people that had puts against BBIG, and it was Friday, and for once it broke out and smashed those puts because it was probably in their best interest to allow those 50-cent calls to go in the money. Now, depending on how many got exercised and the like, we'll see if we get a further movement this week. There is a humongous option chain right now for BBIG for the end of this week. So that being said, it could, if it gets a lot of volume, it could really run. But there's things that if you are not in this company, you need to be made very, very aware of, because in my opinion, this stock at this point, and you guys are not going to like this, but I've been saying this for months, it is not investable. However, is it tradable for the runs? Absolutely. So let's get started, and I'm going to show you a lot of reasons why or why not to take a trade, not an investment, into this stock. Let's get started. Oh, and if you could smash that like button for me, I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, guys, so right now, first thing to bring to order, let me blow this up, is that BBIG is having a space call tonight at 8 p.m. I'm sorry, tomorrow night, January 17th at 8 p.m. Right now, it shows that 242 people are going, at least at the time that I saw this. So keep in mind that January 17th at 8 p.m. tomorrow night, there will be a space call, and I can give you what they're going to be talking about in case it interests you. They're going to be talking about 15 minutes on the BBIGfamily.com, which is what I'm going to share with you in a minute. This is a website that Retail Rudy developed, and it's for BBIG investors, a safe space where you can discuss BBIG and the corruption that's occurring. I 100% agree with the fact that this stock is very, very heavily manipulated. Is it shorted rightfully so? In my opinion, yes, but what's not right is that the naked shorting and the illegal maneuvers and spoofing and everything else that is occurring in BBIG. And that needs to come to an end in a lot of stocks. I mean, this is going on market-wise, guys, and it's disgusting. You have to understand that the short seller's goal is to bankrupt the company, just like what happened with AVCT. Because when they do, eventually those shares will be, the bankrupt shares will be deemed closed. Shorts do not have to close their position, so don't fall for the BS that people are telling you. And short sellers, guess what? They don't have to pay back the loan for borrowing out the shares, so they get to keep all of that money, minus, of course, the interest expenses. And not only that, but they don't have to pay taxes on it. So, address a tax advisor on the tax portion, but this is what I've been understanding for some reason. I don't know why. They are not responsible for the taxes, or whatever little maneuver they use to work their way around it, they get away with it. Now, guys, this is insane if you ask me. But it is what it is, and it's been going on for many years in the stock market, but it's starting to come more to light. And BBIG is absolutely a victim of this. 100%, I feel that that is true. Now, should the stock be shorted based on the fundamentals of the company? Well, based on the current FUD that's been happening for the past 6 months, in my opinion, the reason that I sold, as many of you know, is because the writing was on the wall. And yes, I believe that short sellers should be shorting this. I am not, just so you're aware. I would never do that to this community. However, I do believe that they have a reason for doing it, and I do believe that there is a high risk with this stock that it could potentially have either A, a reverse split, or B, ultimately have to declare bankruptcy itself due to the manipulation that has occurred and continues to occur. And that, again, is their goal. Keep that in mind. And plus, they are not NASDAQ compliant with a lot of things. But we'll get into that more in just a minute. Let's talk about the space call agenda. So they're going to be talking about the BBIGfamily.com. And guys, if you haven't checked out that website, I highly recommend you do because it is a very safe safe place for you guys to discuss what's happening. And also, if there comes a time where there needs to be a shareholder lawsuit for the things that occurred in this company that should not have, then it's something where you guys could possibly, band together to start that movement. So check out BBIGfamily.com. Also, they're going to talk about technical analysis, statistical analysis, and the options chain roundtable panel. That's going to be 45 minutes. True Demon, Arca, Electronics, and others will be in that space. And then for 30 minutes, they're going to discuss the motive updates, Let's Bounce Back, others. 30 minutes on the company outlook and fundamentals. And that'll be Rick, Lauren, Lachlan, Dan, and Magistrate. So guys, whether or not you have a position, if you're considering taking a position, it's always good to hear both sides of the trade. And I highly recommend that you check out this space call. And just so you guys know, this is what you'll see when you pull up BBIGfamily.com. And again, feel free to watch that. There's a video about it you can click on, and it'll basically explain to you what they're talking about. So check out that site if you're interested. And let's see, where do I want to go from here? All right, so let's start with the risks of what's going on right now with BBIG. All right, guys, if you go to NASDAQ.com, you can pull up BBIG and find this. They are out of compliance right now for 4 reasons. And this is very alarming, and this needs to be known before you take a position in this stock, because it's very possible and probable, if they do not meet these conditions, that they will be delisted from NASDAQ and sent to OTC. And ultimately, I'm telling you that this is what the shorts are attempting to do with this. Now, the bid price, they have been in non-compliance because they are not over $1. To regain compliance, they will need to trade above $1 for 10 consecutive business days. So 10 trading days above $1. Now, if they can run this stock up, it is possible that they could do this naturally without a short, without having to do a reverse split. However, if they don't, then ultimately they are going to end up having to do a reverse split if they do not meet that requirement. Guys, this is very concerning. They haven't even had an annual shareholders meeting. And I find this alarming because this is something that happened with ABCT. Why is it that they're not having this meeting? That is very simple for them to do. So they're not in compliance with that, and that needs to get addressed and addressed quickly. And they have 2 delinquencies, and this is for not filing their 10Q, their earnings. And guys, this is very, very concerning. I believe the first one is due by the 19th, based on this, or by the end of this week, sometime this week. Now, if they do not get that paperwork submitted, then that is automatically going to get them delisted. So part of this run has me questioning, A, it could be 2 things, right? One's positive and one's negative. A, somebody always knows something. Is the 10Q ready and prepared and being submitted? Or B, do they know it's not going to get done and this is going to be taken to OTC? Well, guys, unfortunately, that's not something that you or I could possibly know at this point in time, but we will know within a few days. But when you see a run like this with no news, then you have to assume that A, either somebody knows something and it could be good or bad. Because remember, if they're going to short this down and hope that this goes to bankruptcy, then their ultimate goal, guys, is to get that share price higher so that they make more of a profit. So they might have a fake run in it before it absolutely dumps off hard, leaving a lot of retail investors holding the bag. What's the smart way to play it? well, the trend is your friend. If it's running, grab a position, get in, get up, and get out. You know, that's the name of this game. And in this market, I'm sorry, but long-term holds and risky plays like this are very, very, very risky, especially depending on where you got in. Hopefully, you know, if this is something you believe in and chose, you've had this time to average down, and hopefully you guys make the right decision regarding whether to hold, sell, or buy more. You know, it's up to you, or buy in. Personally, I am not doing anything at the moment. I may ride a run, but right now, in my opinion, I'm not investing in this stock, and that's not a knock against anything, but I think we've all been very clear about my reasons why. So, just to show you, they continue to be sending trades to the dark pool. BBIG's off-exchange and dark pool summary shows you that on Friday, 57.37% of the volume was in the dark pool. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. And on the actual exchange, that means that only 42.63% of trades were there. Guys, what's the purpose of having a dark pool if they're sending all the trades there? Don't even get me started. But overall, in the past 30 days, the average in the dark pool has been 61.13%. Again, Gary Gensler needs to do his job and to stop this. This is just not acceptable, and it's pure stock manipulation, guys. I'm just sick. It just continues and continues, and it's not just this name. It's a lot, guys, and it's very, very sad. Anyways, here's the latest filing that they have on the 8Q, and this is regarding the fact that on January 4th, they received the notification that since it had not held an annual meeting of shareholders 12 months, within the last 12 months, that the company's fiscal year ended on December 31st, 2021, it is no longer compliant with NASDAQ's listing rules. So, under the rules, the company has 45 calendar days to submit a plan to regain compliance. If the plan is accepted by NASDAQ, they can grant an exception of up to 180 calendar days from the fiscal year end or until June 29, 2023 to regain compliance. The company plans to submit a plan which is to hold an annual meeting no later than March 31st, 2023. Guys, those of you invested in this better hope that they at least do that, because if they don't, then I think the writing is very clear on the wall that something's happening of why they are not. Now, if you look at this, it'll just show you that in the past week, the stock price has been between 41 cents and $5.49. So clearly, 67 cents being up 25.91% on Friday is coming off of these bottoms, which, guys, technically, yes, this could be a technical breakout, and it does look like that on the chart. The question is whether or not it will be sustained, and I think a lot has to do with today. And you can go back in the filings, go to NASDAQ.com, find that filing for the shareholders. Actually, let me go do that. Hang on. Okay, so I pulled it up for you, and as you can see, this was dated October 26, 2022. It's the Form 8K. You can find this yourself, like I said, by going to NASDAQ.com. And bottom line, guys, is that the plan of compliance was submitted on October 17, 2022, and on October 26, 2022, NASDAQ notified the company that the plan of compliance has been accepted, and the company has until January 31st, 2023 to file the delinquent 10Q and any other required filings. So, guys, they have until January 31st. The company has promised that it would submit these forms by January 30th. However, we all know that there's been many broken promises, so this one's a big one. If they do not come through, then you can pretty much bet with reasonable certainty that this will be delisted from the NASDAQ and go to OTC. So, guys, I urge you to be very cautious with this play. And if you are in it and plan to be diamond handing it into a possible delisting, you know, if they don't come through as promised by the 30th, I think you need to be very cautious because you could stand to lose a great deal. There's just been so much going on with BBIG, guys. I don't even think that the earnings are going to be very good. And I think that that's going to be another problem within itself. There's a reason why things haven't been submitted and that they can't get this done in a timely time frame, in my opinion. You know, I'm almost scared to see what they are. So I just think you need to be cautious and aware of that. And that this potentially could be a run up to get some last bang out of this before things really go bad for this company. Again, I could be 100% wrong, but that's just where my thought process leads me. And I think that you all need to have it in the back of your mind. I'm not saying that this is going to happen or that will be the case, but come on, you need to go back. You need, just looking at these filings, it's pretty sickening what's been happening, to be perfectly honest. This is the most recent 8K that came out on January 4th, guys. And this gives them another deadline on January 4th. Vinco received notification from NASDAQ that since it had not held an annual meeting of the shareholders within 12 months. Oh, I think I may have already done this. I'm sorry for repeating, but I just lost my train of thought. But anyways, they have until March 31st is when the company said that they will hold it by. So hopefully they do that and regain compliance in those regards, if this is even going to matter. Now, I have to reiterate that in the back of my mind, something is telling me that there's a reason why they're not bothering to do a shareholders meeting. And my gut tells me it's not a very good thing for the shareholders. So again, red flags are popping up, guys. Sorry, wrong one. But that being said, here is where there is a possibility that this stock could get a major run. Not just do we have a jacked up options chain for this week, but the short interest is very high. It's 17.59%, with the current volume showing that it would take 7.09 days to cover. So is there an opportunity for one last run in this before things potentially could go sour? I think that there is, and you know, you have to look at your risk management. Again, you could lose a lot of money in this play as well, especially if you don't get out. So shares available to short is 400,000. So they still do have shorting power with a very low cost to borrow at 8.49%, and compared to some others of these names that are absolutely humongous. The short volume ratio is between 44.51 and 59.56%. And Friday was the biggest shorting that you saw in the dark pool in quite some time. And guys, unfortunately, you do not, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, but you don't have failure to delivers that are going to come into play for this at this time being. Because I think that honestly, a lot of people, you know, have given up on BBIG and see the red flags. Now, that being said, did I put that on here? Let's see. Hold on. I just want to check one thing. I don't. Hold on, guys. I'm going to bring up one other thing that I want to bring to your attention that I looked at. Okay. So if you go to Webull, you can see this, and this is showing me that institutional ownership is at 21.58%, with corporations owning 11.55%, insiders owning 1.23%, and others, meaning retail investors, 65.64%. There has been no increase in insider ownership, and there's been very, very slight increase in institutional ownership of 0.03% in the past month. But there are institutions that are in BBIG, whether it's to lend out their shorts or whether it's because they are truly long. That is very hard to say, guys. But it kind of gives me a feeling that, like I said, they may try to run this one last time, especially knowing it has a stacked options chain, and they may be stacking it themselves. It's very hard to say, you know, with anticipation of what could come over the next 2 weeks. And if you look at the technical analysis, it is giving off a strong bullish signal, showing an increase to move to the upside, both in the short and medium term. Long term is still showing a move downward. Again, long term, you need to see how it plays out as it starts to rise. If it does continue to make a move to the upside, as you know, it's obviously been in a downtrend for quite a very long time. In fact, over the past year, we've been in a downtrend. And, you know, technically, guys, though, like I said, this does look good, but I am going to really urge you to be cautious. In my opinion, this is not a stock that you want to hold long term. If you are in the play and you're waiting for a run, I hope for your sake that you get one soon, because honestly, the big picture of this is not looking pretty to me. You know, could it be the comeback kid? Maybe, but is the risk versus reward there? Not for me, it's not, but that's something that only you guys can decide. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this information helpful. If you did, please give me a shout out in the comments below and let me know, you know, if you thought the information was good, bad, or indifferent. Anyways, thank you. Have a great rest of your week.